Good sheep. Good boy. Ram him in. Good boy. You remember pulling? You're doing a good job. We're not having pulled in like 10 months.
Wow. So you always walk like this with them. I mean, you do the same amount of walking as they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good boy, my Ram. Good sheep. People make comments about how, oh, I bet that gets good gas mileage, and I just say, yeah, it runs on gasoline. It's the best. It's the best prices.
So how far can they go in a day?
When his muscles are built up, he can go 2 miles, no problem. When the wagon isn't weighed down with that new fancy electric cooler and 30 pounds of potatoes and oranges, when it's its typical weight, yeah, 2 miles, no problem. And then I let him out and graze somewhere for a while, and then we go back and do another 2 miles. No more than 5 miles in a day, though. I've done 10 miles a day multiple times, but then they're tired the next day, and you gotta give them a day off. Good sheep. 2 miles at a time. But then there's stuff like this that you can give them little breaks where you don't have to let them off. They got grape leaves right here that they like. Nobody wants any though. Yeah.
So how much of this area have you actually roamed with your sheep?
I just went through 3 lambings. It's significantly more difficult to travel through areas that you don't have staged out waypoints that are already set up to let you stay there with lambs, because lambs can't walk as far. And I've been waiting so that I could go north of here and go visit the farm stands and meet some people that actually could use our help. There's a lady that needs some sheep sheared a couple cities over. You literally can't get a shearer to come out and just shear under 10 sheep. And so that's where I come in, because I hand shear. Yeah.
Do people ever pull over because they see this?
All the time. That's the whole point, is that I have this on the roadside. So when I park and I open up my other side, they drive by slow and they're like, oh, farmhand, farm sitter. I got a farm sitting job. And these are the things that I'm offering, and sheep milk now. And I don't even charge money. If you have produce to trade me, which usually if they have sheep, they have meat to trade me or something like that. This is actually, I just bartered a gallon of milk for potatoes and oranges. And he's making, the guy who traded me the groceries today, he's making soap with my sheep's milk. He hasn't come up with a regular package yet. So he was getting this stuff frozen from the coast, and now he's getting it fresh. He's actually getting it from me as I'm milking it out. Good girl, easy. And then putting it in a cooler and taking it back to his warehouse and making soap. And they sell this at the food co-op.
They sell it here in town?
Yeah, but they look like little flowers. Here's my the one that he gave me upon the first time. This makes little flowers.
That's what it looks like inside.
Yeah, and so he's gonna start doing sheep shapes.
So right here, you're basically just helping the farmer out.
So there's something called silvipasturing. It's a permaculture practice that puts sheep in with orchards so that they naturally prune the trees. JC, stop, because they're kind of sharp. Go on. Basically, it's a way of not having to pay for an expensive pruner to come in and prune the branches down in order to get the tree to produce bigger fruit. You can just unleash sheep. It doesn't work with goats, because goats will get up too high and they'll actually damage the trees too much. The sheep just get the lower branches, and so they actually stimulate the tree.
Have they already cleaned out the bottom?
Yeah. This is this branch and that branch. And the other thing is, using goats, they'll eat the bark and kill the tree. Sheep are the perfect tree pruners. And if you look at all the trees around here, all of the bottom branches are done that way. Yeah. It definitely makes the fruit bigger. But this is a much more cost-efficient way of getting your fruit trees to produce bigger, more marketable fruit without having to put money into it. It's silvipasturing. Pretty cool.
So nobody's living here now?
No, this is his secondary property. So that's what I do here, is I keep an eye on it while I'm here. This is all my tools back here. These are my old shears. I've had these for 8 years. They're so cute, small. Yeah, you just start at the bottom and you use your fingers as a guide, so like you feel their skin and you know that you're not too close and you're not gonna cut. And then this new one, I can take such bigger cuts or blows is what they call them. And it's also got a rubber stopper so that it doesn't have a, like when I do it with this one, it's a little bit of a shock each time. See, hear that? And that just a little bit of a vibration, doing it thousands of times will give you a quicker fatigue. Good girl, happy. So this one has a bigger blade to combat fatigue. So I'm just able to, it's nice.
How often are you shearing?
I shear my sheep twice a year. This is the drenching syringe that every farmhand needs, or nomadic shepherd. Come here, buddy. Let's get some water down your throat. Let's see. In order to keep their sick animals hydrated, in order to flush them with medications, stuff. Gonna need some liquids. You are really skinny.
What do you use the machete for?
I just use it to chop my wood. There's the dead wood right under there.
And that would be for wintertime.
Yeah. All right, a little update on my underbed stove with the chimney going across the ceiling to hold in more heat efficiency. Just like 30-mile-an-hour winds. Not too bad yet. It gets to 50-mile-an-hour winds here. Sheep don't care as much about rain as goats. Not nearly. 8 hours later, there's still coals in my wood stove. Kept my bed warm all night. I literally didn't add any wood last night. And I'm boiling down the whey from making cheese 2 days ago. Oh my goodness, this stove is so awesome! And these solar stoves are so awesome! I can't believe I even lived without them. I got potatoes boiled in my sheep's milk. I got a bunch of oranges. These oranges are so good. I was low on vitamin C again.
So you were showing us the barter stuff before here. Like that's a pretty big part of your diet? To barter, the stuff you barter?
Yeah, I've been bartering. Before I was trying to just consume my milk and what was extra, barter it for like local food. I traded my sheep milk and some pear butter for their pickled beets and eggs. I'll eat a half of it. And this is amazing. Lemon ferment. Rabbit meat. But I was consuming 1.5 gallons of sheep milk a day at one point because I didn't have a freezer. I was drinking 6,000 calories a day, but 600% of my daily needed protein. My system wasn't able to digest all the proteins, and so I was getting undigested proteins. Yeah, put some of my sheep's milk. I wasn't diversifying my diet enough because I was trying to keep it to just trading the milk with the local farmers, which wasn't enough. I wasn't getting enough of a bartering response, and so I was lacking in certain things, especially vitamin C. Local Dunbar wheat, organic olive oil. Now it's way easier because I'm open to accepting things from the grocery store. I'm not going so local extremist. There is about 1 gallon full of grain. Until I can get enough people, you know, that can supplement my diet adequately enough. Making cheese in the snow. In the snow. I'm gonna make a new cheese mold. The idea is to be able to do that before crap hits the fan because that's all you'll be able to rely on. If you're a prepper or whatever and you think that that's gonna happen, then it's important to get enough of a diversity of bartering partners. I got my sandals now for when it's really hot. I just made them the other day. I invented these. I call them doormat sandals. Doormat sandals, they're just, they're doormats that you upcycle into sandals. So it's really kind of funny because it's the opposite. Like normally you use shoes to walk on these, but instead I use these to make shoes. So yeah, they're super comfortable. And let's see if he wants any water before we go. Rabbit man! Want a drink? No? No? So I try to pour it over them so that I'm not wasting the water and I can cool them off. He doesn't like it because that's too much water. Like, they don't mind being sprayed down with the sprayer, but yeah. I don't want to waste the water and I want to cool them off.
Now we're in summer and it can get really hot in here. So how do you stay cool?
This right here, it makes a huge difference. Both sides open up. It drops the temperature like 10 degrees just by having through passing. So that is like, that makes a difference. And then if I opened up the ends, it makes it even 10 degrees cooler. And especially if you spritz yourself down, that's why I got this to just do that. And then I'm like actually cold, you know?
I mean, this looks pretty nice back in here now. This is like
it's like a little cave when
right?
it's, yeah.
But even just the field and being right in the nature here, like
it's nice.
when it's not too hot. It's
when you're behind a tree. Yeah, when you're behind a tree, exactly.
Has there ever been a time where you're like, just feel like this is too much?
The size of this wagon makes it to where you can park under trees. If the sun was right back there, I could park my wagon right here, you know, and like this lifts up. As long as your wagon is head high, if your wagon is taller than head high, then you're going to not be able to park it under the shade of a tree. And so, yeah, I advise for people if they're going to make a wagon to not make it any wider than 3 feet wide, because that's how wide it needs to be to fit safely within the bike lane on the side of the road or on the shoulder. You can fit it onto a sidewalk if you need to. Out of water. And to not make it any taller than your height. When I know that the water's good, like this guy's well water and my friend's well water, then I don't have to worry about it. More of a post-apocalyptic measure here, having that filter.
Do you like being out here? I mean, do you ever get tired of being out of a conventional house?
No. Cause I view the living options in the same way that we have like a socioeconomic ladder, and like I'm like down here from everyone else's point of view. Rosie. And maybe like a backpack living homeless person is like at the bottom. She's getting the pine mat manzanita. They like that plant. That's the plant that grows up through the cracks in sidewalks. So when we walk through urban areas and they eat it out of the cracks of the sidewalk, it's really helpful to the people that it's their property, because they can't really use weed whackers to get rid of that because it's so low lying. I think like right above backpack living would be pack boxes, living off pack boxes. Let's go. This is the best ram I've ever had. He's the nicest. I have had my dairy sheep in tow on leashes with just my backpack. I didn't know how difficult that was until I got pack boxes. And then when I got pack boxes, I was like, oh, this is like so nice. It's ready? All right, let's go. Good sheep. And then when I got this wagon, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like 100 times better. Good sheep. Good sheep. I was invited to stay at that place down the road. Yeah, you can see the fence down at the end. That's all we're going to. And he has chickens. I have more of a responsibility there to have to go back and to close up his chickens. You wanna run? Let's run. Come on. Yeah. Yeah. Good boy. Yeah. Good sheep. We haven't run for a long time because that weather didn't like to run. So it's good for me to be able to get exercise again. Good sheep. With this wagon, I call this grassoline. This runs on grassoline, and it has 1 ram power. Ram's getting his first workout in 10 months. My YouTube friend made a song called Grassoline, and it was like, Grassoline, and it's hilarious. Good boy. Yeah. Parker right here. Good boy, buddy. Yes. Good sheep. Yeah. Good girl. Yes. You know, farmhanding is a well-paid job, especially if you know how to take care of people's like plethora of different animals. Come eat over here. It's really green around here. But a property sitting job is something that everyone can do as long as they're responsible and trustworthy.
How long have you been coming here?
What's up?
How long have you been coming to this property?
For like the last year or so.
Okay. And they want you to just like watch the chickens and
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. Sheep are just chilling out.
With the chicken.
Yeah, with the chickens. Yeah. See?
You guys want to check out my fort? This is my fort. Yeah, I got a refrigerator. I got a shower in the back. It's my sheep's shear. I got some popsicles in there I was offering your mom. She said you guys might be interested. And I got this fridge right here. So when you freeze it, see there's ice cube in there? This is actually cream for my ice cream making. And this is my cheese cave, my evaporative cooler. My evaporative cooler ended up getting less breathable. So I'm going to take this, my sheep's coarse wool, and I'm going to create a second layer around the whole thing so that there'll be a gap halfway down so that I'll be able to go like all the way around it as opposed to having to do this. So I have to spray down the inside 3 times a day. So this is a little bit too much work to be practical. A friend who does some shearing, like professional shearing, he sheared off an entire 2 sheep's fleeces that were matted like this. And so I'm getting those to use as my bed mats. And then I'm gonna use these felted bed mats that are coarser for upgrading my evaporative cooler. This is my cupboard of all my food. And then the back half is my winter clothing, all my layers.
It has a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. And then this is all my everyday stuff. See, I got my toothbrush right there. I'm hygienic. I got some tooth powder drying out. I just ran out and just started a new batch. Oregano and sage is the main one that's like the abrasion resistance. I put in a little bit of wood charcoal for the abrasion resistance too, and then wood ash for the pH. I was out of the herbs, so I was just using ash and wood charcoal. Yeah, so this is sage. Sage is the perfect abrasive herb to use that's not going to wear away your teeth, but it'll scrub them nicely. Whereas wood charcoal, it's a little bit too abrasive. And then I got oregano for its antimicrobial, and then 3 different types of mint for the flavor and the mintiness. So these are dry now. I'm gonna be making my next batch, like actual batch of tooth powder instead of just relying on that in between.
How long will it last you?
Months. Here's the popsicles. This is gonna be my next batch, local elderberries mixed with the local honey. And then I got this awesome ice cream mold that you're gonna have to eat them fast because they are 100% cream. And so you'll notice that they're really, really creamy flavored, but they don't stay frozen as long as the ice cream that has more water in it because fat thaws out a lot quicker. So, but they're to die for. They're so much better and fattier. If you just use the milk to make popsicles, then you're starting to get into a much more scalable and replicatable example for other people to follow, because that freezer is only $150. And then all you'd need is a $150 solar panel. The batteries are like $200 starting out. And raw milk, it's one of the most efficient ways that you can use your land to produce calories. I've been in apartments and houses. Right before I started being voluntarily homeless, I almost bought a house. And I can say without a doubt that this wagon is the perfect like Goldilocks like sweet spot. It's not too hot and not too cold. It's perfect.
Why?
Because everything right now that I own is within reach from my seat right here.
And you like that?
Yeah, because if you, the bigger the house that you have, the more possessions you're inevitably going to pack into it, and the more possessions you're inevitably going to occasionally misplace and maintain and clean, and feel like you got to upgrade because you know your couch or your television isn't as big as everyone else's. So there's this like just a lot of responsibility that comes with the larger and larger abodes. Oops. Agua.
Do you think that you are outside the norm as far as like what most people consider their Goldilocks?
Yeah, I think that I'm outside. I think that I'm ahead of the curve. Yeah, this is the pump house. The chickens are always trying to get at my my sheep's water. Yeah, good job, buddy. If you notice, like you guys know better than anyone, the van life, what they enjoy from van life is the same thing that I'm pointing out is the reduced amount of responsibility and distraction and the maximized enjoyment of other things that are more purposeful in life. Isn't that cool though? I got a seat for 2, and this is usually a table that sits out, but I'm in the middle of redesigning it right now, which is going to be mounting a square bar right here, and then mounting another square bar, welding it to this back here, and then having a smaller square L bar. And then when I want to turn it into a table, I just go like this and take that bar out and put it in the bottom, twist it 90 degrees and put it in like that. And then the L will be coming down, and then I'll nest it down into there. And then it would be a floating table.